Hi everyone, welcome to a very necessary video. Today, we're breaking down one of the most talked about topics in Hollywood right now. Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni. By now, you've probably heard two very loud sides, the pro-Justin camp that's convinced he's a victim of extortion and blackmail, and the pro-Blake camp that sees her as a brave woman speaking out against workplace harassment. But what about the independent view? The one that doesn't worship celebrities. The one that asks hard questions on both sides. That's where I come in. In this video, we're going to examine how they could both be lying. And yes, how they could both be telling the truth. If you're someone who never believes women and automatically sides with the accused, this video isn't for you. If you're someone who believes all women no matter what, this video probably isn't for you either. But if you're someone who believes that we shouldn't doubt victims, but also that everyone deserves a fair hearing, if you think justice requires nuance, and every story has multiple layers, then welcome to this video. Now let's get into the facts, the contradictions, and the uncomfortable truths of Blake versus Justin. 1. The childbirth video misrepresentation. Blake allegedly saw a clip of a childbirth scene and presented it as sexually explicit material. Why this matters? This could seriously harm her credibility. This isn't about needing to be a perfect victim, but it does raise the question, if this was a genuine case of misconduct, why embellish it when the foundation of a claim includes exaggeration? People start questioning the rest of it, even unfairly. 2. Accusation of sexualizing a minor's role. Blake's team suggested Justin added a sex scene involving an underage character, sparking outrage online. But the actor was of legal age, and this is standard practice in Hollywood, including Gossip Girl, which ironically launched Blake's own career. Either this was a misunderstanding, or it was a strategic way to inflame public sentiment by implying predatory behavior. 3. Allegations of doctored evidence. Her team altered parts of a signed agreement regarding her return to set. Justin's team agreed to 17 points. Blake's team initially provided 30 points in their complaint and claimed Justin's team agreed to that. Where did the additional 13 points come from? This introduces reasonable doubt and forces us to ask, if she has a strong case, why manipulate documents? 4. Lack of independent corroboration. What we know, no one else from the cast or crew has backed Blake's harassment claims. Yes, they all came out initially to give vaguely worded support statements, but no one backing the claims. Compared to known predator cases, Weinstein, P. Diddy, R. Kelly, once one person came forward, many followed. This doesn't prove he's innocent, but it makes the pattern look unusual for someone allegedly targeting a major actress. 5. Selectively presented text messages. Her biggest evidence, PR team messages allegedly planning a smear campaign. But there's also indication some messages may have been altered, e.g. emojis removed to change tone. Example, you're a fool versus you're a fool, same words, different meaning. So if the messages are doctored or half of the story, it undermines what is supposed to be her most damning evidence. 6. Weight loss coach misrepresentation. Lively called someone a weight loss coach, implying body shaming. Evidence now shows this person is a certified holistic wellness expert, with messages that support that role. This suggests she's bending facts to fit a narrative, not fabricating but reframing truths to sound more sinister. This all makes Blake's case sometimes feel like a masterclass in strategic storytelling, where facts aren't necessarily invented, but rearranged to serve a more compelling emotional arc. Her narrative is not baseless, but some elements appear curated to provoke outrage, which makes discerning the truth much harder. Now let's examine why Justin might be lying. 1. The "let's lean into him being autistic" text. This message has stirred major debate. On the surface, it might sound like strategic PR wording, but it also suggests something happened that needed a soft landing or explanation. If nothing inappropriate occurred, why discuss leaning into anything? This raises a flag. It might not be a confession, but it hints at trying to spin behavior, possibly to explain something uncomfortable. 2. Silence from key people. None of the main co-stars from that film have come out publicly to support Justin, not even the writer Colleen, who was known to be close to him. Some have argued maybe they were silenced or influenced by Blake's team, but there's no proof of that currently. The silence is deafening, and while not conclusive, it doesn't help Justin's case. 3. The signed agreement, a red flag. His team claims the agreement Blake references had conditions already in place, and they just formalized them. But even then, why sign it without legal pushback if the terms were exaggerated or false? A Hollywood studio agreeing to a document without clarity makes it seem like they were cornered, whether they meant to or not. Signing that document gives her side credibility, even if unintentionally. 4. The controversial dancing scene. The footage his team released to defend him backfired in some ways. Yes, it debunks her claim that he told her she smelled good. It was the tanning spray she mentioned that he was referring to. The script for the scene wasn't explicit, it just says to act in love and look like they are in their own world. So the issue isn't the acting, it's that he was a director and producer. He had a duty to confirm with Blake exactly how far was too far. Some argue they may have had an unspoken rhythm, since she's seen in past footage pulling him in for kisses on set and showing him to kiss her, which would have been unscripted as well, but that doesn't mean consent was ongoing, even if his intention wasn't malicious. Failing to clarify boundaries could have made Blake feel violated. 5. Asking Blake's trainer about her weight, even if it was to protect his back while lifting her, comes off as intrusive. The weight inquiry, whether meant well or not, it crossed a line. Making someone uncomfortable doesn't equal harassment, but it shows a pattern of socially unaware or inconsiderate behavior. Add in the alleged joke about her late father, which both parties remember differently, and it strengthens the view that he may just be a guy with poor judgment. Where Blake could genuinely be telling the truth. 1. The power dynamics are real. Blake was the lead actress, but Justin was director, producer, and co-star. That is a lot of control in one person's hands. In that kind of dynamic, even subtle boundary crossing can feel coercive, especially if the person being affected feels isolated. 2. PR messaging can still be sinister. Even if some texts were slightly altered, there's still evidence that his team talked about managing image. That's not illegal, but if done maliciously, it can still be a form of reputation suppression, especially if she raised genuine concerns. PR spin is real, and Hollywood is no stranger to burying women who speak up, so it's plausible. 3. Trauma responses aren't always logical. If she did experience something inappropriate, it's possible that she responded by collecting small moments that felt violating and packaged them as proof. People dealing with trauma don't always present their cases in perfect, linear ways. They sometimes lean into their emotional truths, even if the facts are messy. 4. She has nothing to gain publicly. By speaking out, Blake has opened herself up to career risk, scrutiny, and backlash. If this were purely for attention or control, there are far safer and more PR-friendly ways to go about it. The fact she's willing to endure this media firestorm means there might be something very real underneath it all. 5. She's not without credible industry support. Director Paul Feig, who has worked with Blake, came out publicly to say she is a wonderful collaborator and highly professional. That kind of support doesn't prove the case, but it adds to the possibility that she's not a manipulator or fame seeker, as some critics claim. Why Justin might be telling the truth. 1. No history, no pattern. When allegations like these come out, there's usually a pattern. Other people step forward, similar stories emerge. In Justin's case, nothing. We only have a long-running reputation for being respectful on set, and past female co-stars praising him. Sabrina Carpenter, Gina Rodriguez, Madison Iseman, and others have spoken positively about his conduct. Plus, he was a lead on Jane the Virgin for years and even officiated Gina's wedding. Hard to believe someone would trust a predator with something so personal. She could have tolerated him at work, but to invite him to officiate her wedding, doubt it. The fact that no one from his past has accused him of harassment, especially in an industry where secrets don't stay buried, raises questions. 2. Fellow cast member Isabella Furrer texted Justin thanking him for making the set feel safe. That kind of unsolicited affirmation after filming suggests he was doing something right. It might not disprove everything, but it pokes holes in the idea that the environment was broadly toxic. 3. The Blake pull-in videos. There are behind-the-scenes videos where Blake is seen pulling Justin toward her, encouraging more intimacy in scenes. Again, that doesn't mean ongoing consent, but it does suggest they had a certain comfort level and rapport. She also invited him on a private jet with her kids after the timeframe of her accusations. That kind of complicates the narrative that she was being constantly disrespected or cornered. Final thoughts: where does this leave us? So now that we've walked through both sides, where Blake Lively might be lying, where Justin Baldoni might be lying, and how both could be telling the truth in parts, what can we really say? This case is murky. It's not Harvey Weinstein. It's not Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It's something in between, where tone, context, and intent play as much a role as hard evidence. And that's what makes it dangerous to blindly side with anyone. Blake could be an actress who was genuinely uncomfortable and tried to speak up the only way she knew how. Or she could be leveraging uncomfortable moments and emotional manipulation to create a bigger narrative. Justin could be an oblivious but well-meaning director caught in a firestorm he didn't see coming. Or he could be a man in power trying to spin his way out of a reputation hit. We don't know for sure, but here's what we do know. There is no conclusive proof of sexual misconduct so far. There are enough inconsistencies on both sides to raise doubts. And most importantly, truth doesn't belong to only the loudest side. Now I also understand why many women, especially feminists, are afraid of Blake not being the victim in this case. It is scary, because when a woman is found to be dishonest, some extremists take it as a license to discredit all women. And that's not just frustrating, it's dangerous. But no matter how uncomfortable it is, we can't bury our heads in the sand. I've seen people say things like, better to wrongly convict a man than to let a bad one go free. But that's not justice, and it's not the way to win hearts or fix the system. That's just a new kind of injustice. If Justin is innocent, then he's not just a celebrity, he's a father, a brother, a son. A false conviction would destroy his life and the lives of people who love him. And as someone who has nephews, brothers, and friends, I know how terrifying it would be to watch one of them be torn down because the alternative was less convenient. This isn't about choosing sides, it's about choosing fairness. It's about being brave enough to sit with the discomfort of uncertainty. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and share respectfully, and I'll see you in the next video.